unusual. Actually, we've done this a couple of times on the channel where I'm just doing a live because I'm here at the table. I've got a few minutes to do some modeling. And so, surprise, give you guys an opportunity to see what I'm doing. Have you guys ever just messed around with modeling instead of you've got a project that you've got to get done and you're working on that project? We all have those. But today I'm just goofing around. I'm doing a bunch of different stuff. Most of it has to do with Warhammer because that's what I'm working on currently. Been doing a bunch of stuff for my son. And, well, I got interested in it because some of these figures are just really cool. And I'm learning a bunch of new techniques, and I'm trying out a bunch of new techniques. I think I showed you guys this power sword. First time I've ever tried to, replicate something like that. That was a lot of fun to, do something new. So anyway, I got a bunch of that kind of stuff that I'm doing. And I'll just take you along for the ride today while I do some modeling. So there you go. Recently, my son got me this box. And what's cool about this is I can use this for a bunch of other stuff, not just Warhammer. You've seen me use some of these skulls before on my lamps on my pirate ship that I did. And yeah, these things are really cool. There's a bunch of different, there's like 82 regular human skulls and 48 scale. And there's just some other, weird things. There's 42 cracked skulls. I like that. Here's an upper skull, 12 of those. So there's lots of, stuff along with all these other that I don't know what they are, but you know what? They're going to look cool on some of the bases I do. I'm going to have them for other projects. So I'm actually really excited about that. What I did is I started out by painting them with this spray paint from Citadel. It's called Wraithbone White, and it's what I use to base my son's Tyranids with. It's where I start the painting on these. Makes a good base, and figured it's a good start for this. Now what I'm going to do, I've mixed up a sludgy brown version of Larry's bathwater. You guys have heard me talk about that. There's a lot of other washes and stuff on the market. Hey, I've got some of this, Vallejo oil wash, great. This stuff works really good for me. And I've given you the recipe before. It's like 5 parts water, 3 parts dish soap, and 1 or 2 parts paint. And what I like to use, because the paint that I used to use is no longer available, I like to use the Mission Models paints because they're nice and thick. They have good pigments in them. I'm using the NATO brown, but if there's a primer brown, that's even better. But that and just a little bit of primer black. Use like 1 drop of this to like 5 drops of this, just to darken it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over these skulls. Just give them a good wash. I've been having a lot of fun, and that's I guess that's what modeling's all about, huh? Supposed to be having fun doing this, or else why do it? Hopefully, for those of you who wind up watching this video, there's some things that you can learn. Hopefully, some techniques that I show you that you haven't seen yet. I know when it comes to watching the Warhammer videos, wow, it's great watching those sponsored videos, but they're too clean and professional. In other words, they've got this beautiful map here that looks like it's never had a knife on it. These perfectly clean and orderly modeling rooms. Who in the hell has that? Certainly no modeler I know. You know, we all have our own system, our own organization. Some are better organized and cleaner than others, but yeah, it's just too phony, too fake. But the results the guys get are great, and I like watching their tutorials and learning from them. And then I come to my messy little building area and, you know, do my thing. And I hope that you guys can find some time to get some building in this week as well. My little Finley was here earlier today. He is off to preschool, so I've got a couple of hours. Got to get lunch at some point in time, but I've got a couple hours to just sit and enjoy doing some modeling. And you see with this brown version of Larry's bathwater, it's a dark, kind of a dark brown. I could remix it and make it a lighter brown, but I think I'm going to like this one just fine. Flip it over. And eventually we'll come back and dry brush these as well. But yeah, some of these will wind up on bases. Some are going to wind up, you know, just who knows where. You guys have seen my videos. You see all the weird stuff I collect. Oh, wow. And these skulls weren't cheap. I want to say they were like 30, 40 bucks for these 4 sprues. But again, you get a lot of stuff. And who knows where it'll actually wind up. So, okay, we'll put this aside to soak, or to dry, I should say. Here's one I did with my black version, my sludge gray version, I guess, of Larry's bathwater. And, you know, the black's okay, but I'm going to go over it with some brown. Get these nice and dirty, and I can come back and dry brush and pick out all the highlights later. Look like some kind of budgie here, skull. Maybe I'll have, for my pirate gal, maybe I'll have a parrot skeleton. Who knows? Today I wanted to work a little bit on my bases. I wanted to work a little bit on creating a plasma effect for the plasma rifles. Again, these are effects I can use on other projects, not just the warhammer. Okay. Put that up for right now. And check out all these skulls. Isn't that cool? That's cool. I'm gonna have fun with these. Again, don't know where they'll wind up exactly, but guarantee they're gonna make it look neat wherever they wind up. Yeah, some of these would look really good on, say, a bone throne or a, if I have like a Johnny Depp figure, pirate figure. Some of the adventures that gets into in Pirates of the Caribbean. These could be fun to add to a figure. So remember, I told you guys I got that lady pirate figure, and I got her in 25th scale for a reason. I mean, what are you going to do with a cool pirate figure? Well, I already know what I'm going to do with my cool pirate figure, and I'll show you here in a minute. So you guys remember also that I was working on those convertibles, and I had, I guess we were calling it ponies and tails or something like that, or yeah, I can't remember what I called it, but I'm going to do a diorama with those convertibles and dogs. Ooh, finger just locked up. That's not good. Hate it when that happens. Yeah, I'm getting old. Things like that happen more frequently than I would want it. See, there's the results so far. Pretty neat. Anyway, this lady pirate that I haven't done any more work on, she's in 25th scale, but I figured what would be fun, because there's a lot more 25th scale figures, particularly 3D printed ones coming out, that I would get some, and it would be fun to do a miniature, like Halloween, let's say a Halloween car show. Cars and Halloween costumes and stuff like that. Trunk or treat, I guess, would be, fun. Sorry, we kicked out there for a minute. I have a minky. He's missing his hand, but we have a minky to put on our shoulder here somewhere. I'll figure it out. But anyway, pretty neat when we get to that. Yeah, this base that I painted, this is how it comes. I didn't have to add anything, just paint it, and pretty neat looking. But I want more really cool bases for my figures, so I'm gonna make some more. Obviously, he's not finished yet, but he's getting there. Shave and a haircut. These bases came with one of my figures. And what I did is I just gave him a wash, painted him in a neutral gray, just spray paint, gray primer, basically neutral gray. And then I used my Vallejo Rust Effects wash and went over it. You can see here on this figure better how that turned out. And then I dry brush over the top with this Wraithbone White, and it gives it kind of a, plaster rubble effect. Very quick and easy. And with these war game figures, there's going to be a few that I wind up spending a considerable amount of time on just for the heck of it, but not very many of them. Most of them I'm going to want to build, fairly quickly and move on. Sorry, guys, you get the dogs today. They're outside. It's a very blustery day. We dropped about 20 degrees overnight from yesterday, and we got some rain. I guess parts of the valley even got snow. Probably. We've got some friends on Facebook who posted that they had snow, so. Okay. Yeah, this Vallejo wash, I'm finding a lot of different uses for it that I really do like. Remember we looked at how I was doing some of these 35th scale figures, and his face turned out pretty good. Very, very simple technique. All I've done with her is based her in that light flesh, and then went over with a coat of this, and then I can continue on from there. But anyway, that's where we're at with that. Dry brush, I think I'm ready to do some dry brushing on this. Let's see. My Wraithbone White, and dig out my brush. Hey, Mark, how are you? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, I actually have a few minutes to model today. It's at a kind of a strange time, but hey, at least I've got the time, and it's real windy here. Real nasty looking. My puppy's in here. She's behind me, snuggled on the floor because, well, it's just a nasty day to be outside. Don't have the heat on in here yet, which is good. By the way, I like these dry brush brushes. Very helpful. I actually saw somebody on one of the Warhammer videos, several of the guys actually, who do that same thing. They, after they wipe it on their towel, they'll wipe it just to make sure they're getting it right. I love it. But you guys know how much I like to use washes and dry brush. It's a very simple technique that brings a lot of really good results, I think. Really brings out the detail. So, since I am not into Warhammer, so to speak, believe it or not, I just haven't studied all the lore and all this other, stuff behind it, which is great. That's what my son and grandson are doing, and, good for them. I like the models. And one of the things that I'm putting together is actually a sort of an army. I'm putting together more of a regiment, smaller army, much smaller army, that more or less the size of what I'm going to do is a platoon. And depending on the era, depending on the branch of service, a platoon can mean a bunch of different things. The nice thing about Warhammer 40K is I can kind of do whatever I want to do, and who's to say? I mean, they're my models, and there's certain rules you got to go within, but I'm not really, I mean, they're pretty vague, so I'm good that way. But what I'm going to wind up doing, they're called Blood Angels. It's a new set that's out, and it's really neat looking. Basically, they have, and this isn't a good example because I chromed him up just to try him out, but they have red armor and some other really cool stuff. But in a squad, the size of a squad, so I'm going off of, say, a World War II squad of 12. You have a corporal or a sergeant, usually a corporal, leading your squad. You get 3 squads, and that's a platoon. You got a platoon sergeant, you've got a lieutenant usually, and within there you have some specialty guys, not just riflemen. Besides riflemen, you've got, in World War II at least, you had a guy carrying a grenade launcher. You had a couple of those guys. You had your BAR, your heavy weapons guy. So in this world, I'm doing something similar. According to this is supposed to be a captain in that world, in that, you know, whatever. So my captain will be not quite like this, but very similar. He'll have a little crown-like thing on him. And then they have a chaplain. Now their chaplain, what's interesting about a chaplain is they're more like what you had in the Soviet military years ago with a political officer. If you watched Hunt for Red October, and there towards the beginning he offs the political officer. Well, that's what the priest is, or the chaplain, chaplain. They're veterans that, you know, have these higher powers and all this cool stuff. So this is the one that goes with my grandson's set. I've started on him, but I haven't painted his armor up yet. I will be having one for my platoon. We'll just call it a platoon. How's that? Right now I'm at 24. Once my figures do show up later this week, I should be at 24 total figures. So I've got 2/3, 2 squads basically. See, look at how this dry brush. I mean, it's so freaking awesome. Sorry. Get distracted by squirrels. Anyway, in my world, what I'm doing is I got a sniper team. I'm putting together a sniper team. So I purchased these guys, which are my snipers. 3 dudes. One is a sergeant. And they come with extra arms, extra heads, extra poses. You know, there's 3 of them. And right here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rifles. So I got a bunch of different options. I have a real cool cloak that I'm going to paint a camouflage on. That ought to be fun. It'll be kind of an urban camouflage. So that'll be fun for me to try. And each one of them has like 2 or 3 heads for each one of them, which is kind of cool. So anyway, yeah, they'll be part of my platoon as well. And you see I've got flamethrower. Trying to debate whether I want to do 2 or 3 flamethrowers or just have the one in my platoon. I'm not 100% sure yet. So we'll see where it all comes out. But yeah, these are the bases for my snipers. They call them something else. They call them exterminators, or what do they call them? Eliminators. They call them eliminators. Weird names for stuff. They're snipers, okay? Anyway, so you see how this base turned out with that little bit of a dry brush. I might add some greenery to it, like a little tuft of grass, which you guys have seen me do in the railroad stuff. But, I mean, simple, nice. Here's this one. And again, all I did was spray it with a primer gray and gave it a wash of that Vallejo rust wash. And then here we go. Now I've ordered a bunch more of these bases. I've ordered 100 of these bases. And here's the thing, guys. When you're building a figure like this, yeah, they're neat. And if I put him in a diorama, he's even neater. But this is the base I've got for him. Don't you think it'd be nice to have a nicer base, you know, more uniform base that I could put, you know, a bunch of my figures on? That's my thought behind that is, I mean, yeah, it's a base, but it's hokey, okay? So I thought, 100 little bases, the same uniform size. Oh yeah, that would be great. And then I can do whatever I want with these different figures. And I don't know whether it's German World War II, whether it's Marines or Japanese, whatever, or if it's anything else. I'll have these really cool bases to do whatever I want with. And it'll be, I think, better to display my models that way than just on these, you know, makeshift crappy bases I've been doing. So, like I say, this Warhammer for me has been wonderful because I'm learning. I'm learning new things that I can use in my other modeling. So, fortunately or unfortunately, you guys will have to put up for a while with my wargaming stuff as I learn and have fun with this. But again, that's what our modeling's about, is about having fun. I'm going to try, by the way, for our kit hoarder stash, I've got a Panther kit that I just picked up at Kit Links, and it's the 1946, you know, type stuff, right up my alley. It's got 2 different flak turrets to go on it, so we're going to be reviewing that, I think, on Thursday. Also, my friend at Kit Links is going to be bringing in a book. I forgot to ask him the company's name, but it can retail for about $40. But it's got these great color plates of German armor, illustrations of different camos, and some of them are actually, 1946 type of, conjecture type of stuff. So I thought, oh yeah, that's going to be so awesome for me. I'm looking forward to it once he gets that in. I could do a lot of different colors here. I could do a lot of different things here. I'm just trying to get something that's kind of basic for now. And I can come back and do other things if I so desire later. Excuse me. Dry brushing. Gotta love it, baby. Gotta love it. You see this? It's got a ton of detail. Whoa. I think that's one reason why I like doing fantasy work, such as World War II, 1946 stuff. It is, buddy. It is a really good time to be in doing things. I should be listening to the CB radio. I know. This would be a great day to do that. But I don't have a CB radio anymore. I need to remedy that. We need to get one in my truck, Mike. We need to do that. But then I wouldn't be able to listen to it out here, so but Europe, huh? Got Europe coming in. Yeah, I like Europe. By the way, did you guys know I have a police record? I bet you didn't know that. It is their greatest hits, but still, it's the police, so when you say Europe, I know I need a little base station out here, because honestly, it would just be fun, and we could communicate a lot more. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, these bases are really cool, Mark. I love this technique makes a difference. And like I said, I can put some tufts of grass on here or do whatever. If I don't like how it looks, I can change it real easy. which I still have to paint this. It's like a pouch. I still have to paint that. And I'm going to give a wash to the monolith here. But isn't that neat? I love dry brushing. And you know what? I did not know about these brushes in all my millions of years of modeling. I did not know about these. I've been dry brushing using, just old crappy brushes, which is okay. But then I discovered doing this warhammer stuff. Hey, guess what? There's something actually called a dry brush. Oh, who knew? Kind of embarrassing that I didn't know that, but hey, at least I learned, and I'm trying this out. All right. Ooh, yeah, I do like how those look. Okay, going back to Larry's bath water. Now I'm going to use... Oh, yeah, by the way, part of the reason that I put dish soap into my washes is because once it dries, if I want to get some of this off of here, it's a whole lot easier with the dish soap in it, believe it or not. If I feel I've got too much on there. Okay, I'm going to go to the black Larry's bath water. Well, Wagon Master, I hope you're doing good these days. I haven't hit the live up recently. I've watched it not live, unfortunately. I watched it a day or two later. But I have been keeping up on some of the stuff you've been doing. Which, by the way, I absolutely adore. My buddy's channel, you guys know that, Wagon Master 390. It's got some great content. Mike's a great guy. Ugly as hell, but hey, who am I to talk? I think a lot about the good old days, Mike, what we used to do in high school, and, just some of the fun the fun times from way back when, before the internet. Now, in using the black wash here, kind of going over this monolith a little bit. And just some of the edges, so way cool. All right, now what's next? Okay. All right, what was I going to do next? That's not my tummy, that's the dog. She's funny. She's really depressed today because we aren't playing ball. I know. It's too dang cold, and it's too muddy, and it's too rainy, and every other excuse I can come up with. Okay, one thing I am going to add to a couple of these bases. So let's see, like this one here, so far it's okay, but I'm going to take a fine brush. And this color, I've fallen in love with this. It's called Zigvalt Burgundy. So I used it on my my dragon, around my dragon's eyes, the eye socket that I did, that 1-to-1 scale dragon that you saw in the video on Monday. If you didn't see the video on Monday, please go back and check it out. I spent about 2 hours and put together this really cool dragon from one we got at Ross for like $10. This dragon head. and just did a real quick paint. Just did a primer, a quick airbrush, and then a dry brush with another green. I mean, honestly, before it was really wet, dried, but it looked good. Okay, that was a little too heavy, but it'll be okay. Anyway, I used this kind of a burgundy around the eyes, and I love it. But the one thing I have to always be careful with these paints is thinning them either too much or too little. And yes, I have a wet palette. No, I'm not using it today. So there's some kind of a funky thing here on the base. It's like a spider web, and it's on most of the bases for these. They're called tyranids, but it's on some of the other bases as well. And it looks kind of like a spider web. I envision it more of a goo, like a, I don't know, innards or poop or hell. I don't know what to call it, but anyway, just something from these foreign creatures. And so what I've been doing is giving it a coat of the Sigvault Burgundy, and then going over that with, again, the Wraithbone White to kind of highlight it. Just to give it some extra, something else. Break up the color, I guess. Okay. Now for some brass. What I'm going to use for brass, or for the brass on these weapons, get back in there. Okay. So a mixture of copper from whoever this is, testers, and some gold. Actually, I'm going to put the gold in the paint shaker. When I was cleaning out somebody's collection for them, they'd passed away and they had a bunch of stuff that we were trying to help the family sell. They had a bunch of supplies. And it's funny how a lot of modelers will go after kits and things like that, but they don't go after the supplies. And so they actually gave me this, which, this thing's awesome. We'll take some copper and some gold. Mix it together to make my brass for this project. You can see they got shells there. Now I could either pretend they're like shotgun shells, or I can just pretend they're brass. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to pick these out of there. Nice thing about doing that dry brush earlier is it picked the highlights here, turning them a nice light color, making it a whole lot easier for this metallic paint to show through. And that's so detailed, that shell right there even has a hole in it, like it's, actually hollow. I'm not quite happy with the color. I just will add a little more gold. And there. One of these. Shave and a haircut. There's some here. Oh, and here's some here. Quick and easy. Well, like I say, guys, I'm actually having fun doing all of this, which really that's what modeling is about. I know this is something kind of new for you guys to see me do this. Okay, there was one other thing. Oh, yeah. So I am going to grab a good old rust color from Testers, because there's some rebar sticking out on a couple of these items. And I'm just choosing to go over them with the rusty color. This base has a couple of real good pieces. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight it with, by the way, this is mineral spirits here, to thin out my Testers. I'm going to go over that rebar with just a quick dry brush of, yeah, kind of a metallic color, I forget what it's called, like a gunmetal. But I am excited about the bases, getting these bases, because my figures just, you can check this guy out. This is a 3D printed figure that was a special edition. I got it, one of the Nationals was given to me. He's actually really cool, but I mean, what a sorry base I've got him on. You know. So I am excited to get some decent bases. Okay, I think that is all the rebar that I have. Okay, cool. Pardon me. Okay, now for this, I think I'm going to go with black for the case on this one. I really do like these Citadel paints. We are going to dry brush over this again. Okay. We'll hit that with some gunmetal in a minute. Okay, so now the gunmetal that I'm using is from Real Colors. This was on sale at MRS because apparently another bottle leaked onto it, so cool. This is a lacquer-based paint. But it does make a nice gunmetal. As you can see from the rifles, makes a very nice gunmetal. Okay. Oops. I oopsed a little bit. Okay, where was I? Oh, the rebar. The rebar. We're just going to dry brush the highlights on the rebar. I know it's really hard to see down in there, but got a little bit of dry brush on it. Okay, I know there was one other base that had. There we go. This one. Just give it a little bit of a metallic look. Okay. And one final dry brush, and I think I'm going to be done for a while. Okay, back to the Wraithbone White. Oh, yeah. How fun is that? Okay. Oops, kind of hit my shotgun shell there. Oh well. Not too bad. Shotgun shell. My car, whatever, my brass. Can't talk today. Now, there's a little bit of color. I'm going to put a tuft of grass on there later, once I get my figure done. Trying to think of which figure goes on here. Basically, He's right here. So, cool. All right, guys. Well, hey, for those of you who are going to be tuning in or who did tune in, thank you very much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun. I'm going to go grab some lunch. Don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe frozen pizza. Who knows? It's just kind of a cold, nasty day. Soup would be good. But I think I'm having soup for dinner. Cheese soup. Nummy. Nummy, nummy. You guys have the rest of a good day. Good, safe day. And we'll see you on Thursday for the Kit Hoarder Stash. Thanks for joining us.